What is up, cricket rockstar nation? Tyrell Ordain, aka the cricket rockstar, welcoming you all to another video. First and foremost, I would like you all to follow all of my social media platforms, like and share the video alongside leaving feedback. And without further ado, let's get on with it. So in this video today, we're going to be talking Indian cricket alone, or should I say the ongoing South Africa tour to India. So folks, the last time I spoke about Indian cricket was when the men in blue traveled to Australia for a white ball series in which they lost the ODIs 2 matches to 1 and won the T20s by the same margin. Today I want to talk about the ongoing series against South Africa where they lost the test matches 2-0 and won the first ODI today by just 17 runs in Ranchi, which is also known as the hometown for Indian great Mahendra Singh Dhoni. So my question I have to ask first of all is, has favoritism and politics taken over Indian team selection and hampered the team's performances in the longer formats of the game? The reason I'm asking this question is because India almost a week ago lost the test series to South Africa after 25 years on home soil. Can you imagine that? As a die-hard neutral cricket fan myself, I never would have imagined this to happen to a team that has always been dominant and dangerous at home for more than a decade or so. Remember last year when, for the longest while, the tactic of producing slow spinning tracks has always favored the home team? Do you all remember, I believe, 2 test matches last year, one against Bangladesh in Kanpur when they had opted to produce a track that suit the fast bowlers, and I think the wicket in Bengaluru for the India-New Zealand test, which actually was the start of the downfall of the home team on Indian soil. Can you even imagine that? For a country that has always been known for producing slow tracks for test matches, which has offered lots of help and so many wickets for the likes of Ravichandran Ashwin and Ravindra Jadeja, can you imagine the New Zealand team, who last year when they went to India for a 3-test series, exploited the plot by sweeping the men in blue 3-0 in their backyard? And the reason why they swept them 3-0 was because they needed backup in the spin attack. For example, Ijaz Patel and also Glenn Phillips, who normally doesn't bowl much in test matches. But that 3-0 whitewash at home last year against New Zealand, where they lost 3-0, was a huge wake-up call and an embarrassment. And let me be very honest with you, for a side which has reigned supreme on these slow pitches for many years now, and to be exploited not just by New Zealand and South Africa, it has to be an embarrassment, not just for myself as a neutral cricket fan, but all of the fans who support the Indian cricket team, not just in India alone, but overseas. So the other question that I want to bring up is, what has happened to the Indian team that at one point was at the top of the test rankings, collapsed in absolute calamity? So almost a week ago, South Africa's 2-0 series victory against India on Indian soil was truly a historic one, not just for the visitors, but also for South African cricket in general. Why? Because this team within the last couple of years, the South African team I'm talking about, have been performing consistently well in all conditions, not just at home in their backyard in South Africa, but globally. They have found a way to win test matches, whether it's on the flat wickets, the slow pitches, and most importantly, the pace-friendly wickets at home, which has always suited the South Africans quite well over the years. They have absolutely been lethal in all departments on the field, whether it is with the bat, the ball, or in the field. But the way how they have been playing, I'll not be surprised if they go all the way and win another World Test Championship in 2 years from now. And possibly, I do recommend, or should I say I do predict, not too long from now, South Africa might win another ICC trophy, whether it's next year's T20 World Cup in India and Sri Lanka, or even the World Cup on home soil, which they are hosting in October, November of 2027. And the reason why I'm predicting that they could win one out of these two is because they do have a very good team currently. but they just need to get the combinations right, especially in the white ball formats. Their test team has been brilliant in the last few years, but their white ball cricket, they need to get to the point. So the first test in Kolkata a couple of weeks ago was a hard-fought battle where the visitors won by just 30 runs on what was the toughest of wickets to bat on. The fact of the matter was that the Proteas successfully navigated this tricky spinning wicket, which has often designed to suit the Indian spinners, which did set the tone and also did show a mental fortrade and adaptability that was perhaps lacking in previous visiting teams. Now keep in mind, just before South Africa went to India, they had a 2-test series in Pakistan where they drew 1-1, then lost the ODIs 2-1 alongside the T20s, which was also 2-1. And I must say that if that tour of Pakistan was very competitive, the South African team did come on the Indian tour with a lot to prove. And then the second test last week in Guwahati was absolutely one-sided. It was a ruthless display of dominance from South African batters and bowlers alike to cruise their way to a crushing 400-run victory over India in the second and final test. And just imagine this, viewers, that is India's heaviest test defeat at home by the number of runs, which was an absolute brutal dismantling of the Indian team. For a batting lineup that has always been considered a fortress at home, the Indian batters, they crumble way too easily under pressure. And let's face it, since 2023, the Indian team's performances in the longer formats of the game have started to take a downwards trend, especially in tests. Unlike in the shorter formats of the game, where they have always been consistently consistent. And if I be honest with you all, I think that was the point where they started to phase out the senior players who are in their mid-late 30s. For example, the likes of Rohit Sharma, Virat Kohli, who retired from Test late last year into early 2025. And then too, they moved on from the likes of Ajinkya Rahane and Cheteshwar Pujara, who this year retired from all formats of the game. And just imagine that, I just mentioned Ajinkya Rahane. He is still playing Ranji Trophy cricket when he himself is wasting his spot for a youngster. And in my honest opinion, if I was Ajinkya Rahane myself, I would bow out with due respect. They were the ones since 2020, since the last two World Chess Championship failures in the finals. If I'm not mistaken, they were the ones that were holding the team back, even though they have been very successful over the amount of years. But then the other thing that I don't understand as well is that the guys who they select for the Indian test team, why are they being picked based on performances in the IPL? Now, I love the IPL so much, but those who are being picked on performances based for the IPL should be in the T20 team, because when it comes to test cricket, there's a lot of patience, a lot of hard work. But let's be honest, you cannot perform well in the IPL and get picked to play test cricket immediately. That is what is killing the Indian team currently. If I had said that about the West Indies team in the late 2000s, early 2010s, I would have gotten backlash. But at that time, I was small, and at that point, I wasn't doing any content creating at all because I was focusing on school. But let's be honest, if it is the Indian selectors are selecting players based on IPL performances for test cricket, they will not reach any far. Look, for example, if you perform well in the Ranji Trophy or even in the list A competitions in India, you're the ones that's supposed to be picked for the test and the ODI team, not those based on the IPL performances. And if it is true they keep on preferring players who did well in the IPL and favoritize them, it will destroy all of the hard work and the legacy the Indian cricket team has been doing for weeks. For this video, I'm gonna wrap it up here. This is Tyrell Ordine, aka the Cricket Rockstar, telling you all to be good, be cool, stay frosty, and most importantly, stand for something you believe in. Bye bye for now, viewers.